Hey, what's up, everybody? This is KENDRICK MIREE here with The Last Round, and today I have a very, very special guest. He's a 2012 NFL Hall of Famer, and his name is Willie Roaf. Willie Roaf, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great to be here.
Hey,
I like the setup, man. It looks good.
Thank you. So, Willie, man, you got crazy stats on this paper here, man. Like, from football to your high school stats to your college stats. You was inducted into, I see, the Louisiana Tech Hall of Fame in 2003, and then even your mother and you were inducted into the Arkansas
Black Hall of Fame.
Black Hall of Fame.
Yes,
Wow.
both of us. Yeah.
Wow. Both of your parents attended Michigan State.
Met at Michigan State on a blind date.
Blind date. Oh my goodness, so much to talk about. So, so I think me and you met back in what, 2000 and I think it was like
16 when I got here.
16
in the gym.
And we were introduced through his father. His father was a really cool guy. He passed away recently.
Yeah.
Back in
2017.
And so, Willie, so we got some questions for you, man. Oh my God, look at this. I got a list of things I want to ask you. Hopefully we can get through it on this show. Willie don't know I'm a fan, and I'm gonna tell you why Willie don't know I'm a fan, because I'm very like laid back, low key. I just like hanging around with Willie. Very positive, very energetic. If you get a chance to hang around him, but at the same time, I pay attention to great people, and I enjoy hanging around Willie, and yeah, I don't think I never told you that I was a fan, because we always like just hang out like buddy type deal, like watch fights together and stuff. He's a big fight fan.
Love fighting.
And so we talk about the fights, talk about football, talk about sports. And so Willie, here's the first question, man. First question is, who is Willie Roaf now?
Willie Roaf now is almost 50 years old. That I look back on it, man. I had a great run in sports, and sports was fun. But I realized after I got hurt in New Orleans when I transitioned to Kansas City, that it was time to think about life after sports. So I was just trying to figure out the best way to move about transitioning my life as I prepared to retire. And I love it in Florida. I love being here. I think the humidity, either I don't like it, but it helps me physically. And me and my wife have been married a little over 6 years now. Just got the kids, her kid, and blended family. My daughter living there. So really, Willie Roaf now is more worried about his kids, my grandkids, making sure this last one gets off to college, and making sure my seeds get off to the best start they can, and prepare them for life now.
Okay, got you. So you try to set it up for the next generation.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. That's what's up, my man. So what was your childhood like, and how did it shape your future? Like, talk about your siblings and your parents and stuff like that. How was that?
Well, what happened was my dad played football at Michigan State, hurt his knee, and then he went to dental school at Howard. He transitioned and brought my mom back to Arkansas. She's born in Nashville but grew up in Muskegon. So after he finished school, they both were zoology majors. They moved to Arkansas. My two sisters were born, and my mom was more around the house and had them read and stuff like that.
Yes.
And as soon as I was born, my mom decided to go to law school in Little Rock, and then that's when me and my brother were we weren't academically, they didn't press us as hard as they did my sisters, and we were more having fun, playing ball. In the 70s, it was baby boom, so Arkansas was thriving, Pine Bluff was thriving. You had my dad, a lot of professionals, and the black community, were good, solid neighborhoods. And, when you lived back in the South at that point, we lived, you lived in your area and everybody lived in there. It was just more black and white, and we all went to high school together, but we lived on our side of town. And
that's a historical state when it comes to that being, integration and everything.
Yeah. And I'll tell you a story about my mom before, at the end of her life. But so it was great. We were growing up playing ball, all kind of football, baseball, stickball, whatever you want to say it. And just growing up and playing sports all my life, and then playing basketball. I didn't take it too serious. I wanted to get a scholarship, but it wasn't like I was thinking I'm gonna be an NFL player or anything like that. I was just you know, it's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go. You gotta get a scholarship, or you gotta go to the military. You gotta do something when you get out of high school.
Right.
So I ended up taking the football scholarship to Louisiana Tech, and that's where I went.
So that leads me to my next question. Because your family was big into academics, you know, your mom, you know what I'm saying, she practiced law there. She was the first black Supreme Court justice there.
Black female, yes.
Black female?
Yes, in the state of Arkansas,
in the
yes.
state of Arkansas. And then your dad practiced dentistry?
Yep. On the school board over 20 years.
On the school
in the
board.
community, bank boards. My dad came from he had eight siblings, and came from a big family in Arkansas. So his deal was, I want to go back, and when he was practicing dentistry, my uncle, his brother was an OBGYN, so he had the dental side and the OBGYN side with my uncle, my godfather, Sterling Roaf. But their whole thing was, we want to go back to Pine Bluff, and the situation we came from, and I think my dad was the first one to graduate college, and because my grandfather had started working in the third, fourth grade, so he just wanted to go back and set a good role model to say, look what I was able to achieve coming from Pine Bluff and the things he established and did. So that was his thing, to go back and help the community and show the generations that you can go and you can be successful through education. Sports and education, because he got the scholarship, but really it was his brain that helped him get the way he got.
Did you feel pressure going into the draft and not finishing? Because you left in your sophomore year.
No. I stayed 5 years. I just didn't graduate. I was redshirted.
Oh.
So when I redshirted, I didn't play till my second year. About 250. I was 230 when I got there.
Right.
So I redshirted. I played at 250, and every year I put on about 10, 15 pounds. I did go back to school in 07 at Long Beach State, and took about 9 hours. And at the time I probably needed about 15 hours, but it was the math and the biologies that I haven't taken. I was good at math in high school, but I just hadn't done it in a long time. So I probably would need some real help to get through the biology.
What made you want to go back?
Because I wanted to get my diploma.
Yeah. Do you think your parents was that big influence?
Yeah, it was family upbringing, and I just felt like it was important for me to get my diploma.
Nice.
And I did, like I said, I did take some courses when I lived in California at Long Beach State. But maybe one day I will talk to Louisiana Tech and see what I can do and what classes I need.
Yes.
But it's gonna take some preparation if I have to take some algebra and some biology classes, because it's been a long time.
It's been a long time, right? So, when you started playing sports, what was the first sport that you played?
Football.
It was football.
Yes.
And then basketball, because you're a tall guy, you played ball too.
Played ball in high school. Yeah, basketball wasn't as organized. When I grew up in Arkansas, it was football and baseball from when you were, you could walk. So the thing was, my dad never really talked about him being a college athlete and him being a good athlete growing up. It was people that he played with around Pine Bluff that would see me, or I would run into him, and they'd be like, man, your dad was a real good athlete and this and that. He was off state football and basketball, and talk about him, but he never played ball in the yard with us.
Why do you think he never talked about it?
You know what? I don't know. I think he got hurt at Michigan State, and he never got to play. So I think he had a sour taste in his mouth.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a dad that was gonna come out and go in the yard and play ball with you. He was going to work every day, and he just. Now, me and my little brother, when we got a little bigger, you had brothers, we got a little rough house in the yard, so he wanted us to use that energy constructively. And a block from my house was 34. It's called 34th 5th and 6th grade school, and that was the East Side Panthers right down the street. So that's when we started playing. I started playing in the 4th grade. My brother was in the 2nd grade.
Right.
So I think he wanted to keep us busy and wear us out something, so we wouldn't just be at the house tearing up, rough out in the house. So he wanted us to do it on football field.
That's all like my brothers. So tell me about the business side of being a professional athlete. So you went from being a college player to being a first round draft pick, 8th overall, right? 8th overall. Like,
coming out of so
that was like.
That was a huge deal. So when I got to La Tech, when we got there, we were just going Division I. Let's say now you have the recruiting 5-star, 4-star. Let's say I might have been like a 2-star recruit. I was all conference. I wasn't all state. I was all super team. So I got to take and just developed, and we had some real good players to come in, some props, some red shirts, and guys, it was exciting for us just to see some guys just even get a guys that went to the pros when I was in college and even just got a tryout and would come back. That was big just for them to get a tryout,
Right.
just to see them. Grambling was down the street from us too, so Eddie Brown, Antonio Brown's daddy, Derek Douglas, guys that went and got tryouts. We were like, man, these guys got tryouts for the pros. That was like a huge deal. So we come along and we're playing good, and I think it was probably about my red shirt sophomore year, junior, especially my red shirt junior year, that they were talking about I could be a third round pick, second, third, fourth round pick, and I'm like, you know, I knew I was a real good athlete. I was real fast for my size and big and strong, and it was just you know, I almost decided. You said I didn't finish. I almost decided to come out of college my red shirt junior year because I was kind of goofing around. Doing Tech was on the quarter system, so when you're on the quarter system, not the semester system, you have 3 quarters. So you got 10, 11 weeks sessions, but they cram a lot of school into it. Well, the problem with me doing football season, I didn't really like to apply myself well in school, so I would have to make it up in the summertime. So before my senior year, because I goofed around some of my red shirt junior year, I had to take 12 hours, but I got it done. And I think that's the best decision I did was to go back. If I had been in a bigger school, I probably would have come out. But since I was going to Louisiana Tech, I needed to come back. I needed to get that other year in. And it helped me. And because we played Alabama and I had such a good game and our defense played so well, after that 4th, 5th game of the season, my senior year, it was 10 or 15 scouts there every practice. And it ended up being 4 guys drafted with me from La Tech, which is huge, and then another one tried out. So 5 of us went pro out of my class. But I was the 3rd first-round pick. I thought it was the 2nd. It was Bradshaw in 1970, was the first-round pick. And he was recruited by everybody. He just didn't, he didn't do well on his ACT and didn't go to LSU and wanted to stay close to home. He's from Shreveport and went to La Tech. But he was one of the top players in the country coming out of high school. So he was the first pick in the draft. It was Roger Carr, who was the second first round pick, and I was the 3rd first round pick in Louisiana Tech history.
So when you realize, okay, I can be a first round draft pick, I can go into like I'm about to make like money. You know what I'm saying? Did it click to you that you was gonna have to like, you know, get the business side of things right? Or did you just like, I can't wait to spend that first check? I mean, where was your mind at when you was like, I'm about to make money?
My parents kind of prepared. I hired a financial advisor. They kind of prepared me and wanted me to get on a budget. And well, obviously, when you get in the league a couple of years, you get off the budget when you really become. But my rookie year, I was on a budget. I was in a condo. I wasn't spending a lot of money. You know, I moved. My second year, I bought a house. $200,000 house. I was there for 8 years, so I built a big house.
That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, a $210,000 house. I was there for about 8 years, but yeah, I got, you know, I was one of the first group of guys getting drafted to finally make $1 million a year. So when I came in, we were making right at $1 million a year, and NFL players were just hitting the $1 million platform. So that tells you how far it's come from the early 90s to guys were just starting to make $1 million. And now you see they're making $20 million a year.
Right. Okay. Well, hey, we're gonna take a quick break, real quick, and then we're gonna get back into asking Willie some more questions.
I got to talk. I gotta tell what I feel. I gotta talk about my life as I see it.
So we're back, guys. So let's get back into, you know, your career, and you know, you spent your last years with the Chiefs.
Yep, nine. Well, the 9th year was a major injury, ACL meniscus, and then you know, it was time to go, and I ended up getting traded to Kansas City. Kind of like the same deal at high school, where when I got recruited, Louisiana Tech was the first school, really the only football offer I had, and then Arkansas State came along later. But when I went to Kansas City because of the knee injury and I was turning 32, it was really the only team that really offered me a contract. So it was I really didn't have a lot of options. So I just wanted to come off the knee surgery and still show I could play football at a high level.
Got you. And so, what type of regrets do you have when it was all over from a business standpoint of view? Like, how would you have taken care of business from, when it comes to like, investments, endorsements, keeping in contact with certain relationships? Some guys transition over into commentating, some guys coach. Mm-hmm. So anything that you
No, I would have. Well, if I could have done things better, I probably would have taken better care of myself some of those years in the middle years in New Orleans when I was not, doing stuff and we weren't winning and not in a good state of mind. Mm-hmm. And obviously I would have budgeted better, but when I started having children, and when I was my second year in the league, third year in the league. So, I fathered some children, and so I would have went a different route about staying on the budget and making sure that I would have. Another thing I probably would have done would have been get a property or condo like in Florida at that time with no state tax, so I could have made that my home residence. So if I could do it over again, I probably would have had something around here. And this was a sleepy town back then, but I would have got something where I would have had something where it would have helped me with the tax break. So the young athletes, if you coming into the league and you're making substantial amount of money, I would recommend you go somewhere with no state income tax, and go get you a license and make sure you get your home residence and keep your plates and stuff, so you can claim that, so you can get that write off on your paychecks.
Right. Oh man, that's great advice right there. And then so like, what motivates you now? Like, what makes you get up and what makes you say, man, I gotta keep it moving?
I gotta keep it moving because I got these grandkids. I'm married now. I'll be 50 in April, so I just want to have a healthier lifestyle and take better care of myself. And like I said, my wife stays on me about eating the right things and dieting and the sweets and stuff that affects me. Right. As far as your cholesterol and your A1C and your glucose, stuff that people don't really worry about when they're young. Right. But then when you get older, you have to worry about it, and you have to check your numbers and all that stuff, and make sure you check your health and your blood count, your liver and kidney functions are important. So just the stuff colonoscopy at 50. So things that you don't think about in your 20s and 30s. And when you start hitting 40 and stuff, and get over 40, these are real things you have to start worrying about and making sure you're doing the right things. You can't, if you want to be around till you're in your 60s and 70s and 80s, now is the time to make sure I'm doing the right things so I can be around for a while.
So you can accomplish your goals and seeing your grandkids get somewhere.
Yes, exactly.
I hear you. And well, one more question. So Super Bowl's coming up pretty soon, and you obviously got a team in there this year. It's the Kansas City Chiefs versus San Francisco. Yep. Give me your unbiased opinion. Who wins and why?
It's going to be a little biased, but I will say this. It's going to come down to, can Kansas City's guys up front block the 49ers guys up front without getting help? Because Kansas City likes to spread you out. And for people to understand, they like to get the four wide out and get the back out sometime. So if their if the Kansas City's front five can block those guys without help, I give the advantage to the Chiefs because they'll be able to spread them out. And then you got to pick your poison. You run zone, they're gonna go to Kelsey in the middle. You run man, then you got to deal with those little receivers catching it down the field, and it's hard to catch those guys out there to catch the ball because all of them run a 4-3, 4-4. So. It's going to be, and when you go to the flip side of that, what is Kansas City's defense going to be able to stop the run and put pressure, make Garoppolo beat them? So it's going to be an interesting with those coordinators, with Andy Reid not having a Super Bowl win and being the winningest coach in almost NFL history. Can he get that first Super Bowl win? And what can Kyle Shanahan draw up against Spagnuolo, who was the defensive coordinator, who was with the Giants when they knocked the Patriots off in 2 Super Bowls. Gotcha. So he's got a track record. So I think it's going to come down to, it's going to be a chess match, and I think it's going to be a great game. But I just, at the end of the day, I think Patrick Mahomes figured things out as he goes. If you watch him play, he reminds me of Tiger Woods when he was younger. And as the rounds went in golf, he got better. Patrick Mahomes gets better once he figures out the game goes on. And I give the advantage to Patrick Mahomes being able to figure it out and making the plays to get it done. So I give him a slight advantage because of Mahomes.
Wow, nice. So you don't think Mahomes worried about Richard Sherman and that backfield?
Well, Richard Sherman doesn't travel, so Sherman's going to stay on one side of the field. So
Yeah,
if I'm worried about him, then I'll just move the other guys where I got to move them.
Right.
But Richard Sherman can't cover Kelsey and
He
can't cover everybody.
Right.
So
That's
I'm
true.
going to put the guy on the slot. You got Tyreek in the slot.
Right.
You got Sammy Watkins needs to have a big day. That's going to help. Sammy Watkins been hurt. He signed a big deal, but he used to be a burner too. But if Sammy Watkins can get going and get going with those guys, that's going to open up the offense too. So it's going to be interesting to see. And the cornerbacks are underrated for the Chiefs. They're good players. Can they block Chris Jones up front with the 49er line? Because Chris Jones wreaked havoc on Tennessee last week in the middle. And then you got Tyrann Mathieu, who is really the safety, but he's like a linebacker safety because he gets everybody in their right position and he kind of directs everything. And he had an all-pro season. So you got Richard Sherman on one side of that corner. You got the Honey Badger for the Chiefs who came in and solidified that defense and made those guys get better. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
You heard it from the Hall of Famer himself. All right, that was nice. That was a nice little breakdown.
Yeah.
Hey, the coach is probably saying, "Dang it, give it all the way." He gave it all the way.
Yeah.
So what's the plan for the week, man? Weekend. What you plan on doing Super Bowl weekend?
We'll be up there early in the week, and we're gonna do some. I'm gonna do some. Brian Jones. I'm gonna do some period, but Brian Jones hit me up, and they're doing some brain scanning.
Yeah.
So they're doing the brain scanning where they can look at you and see your brain and how it's functioning. The guy they're taking the CBD and then test you a month or two now, but they kind of they can check levels of trying to see your CTE or what's going on with your brain. So I'll be up there early in the week doing that. I'll be doing some appearances, signing at the NFL experience. I'll be signing down there Saturday from 11 to 1 if anybody wants to come down. And then we'll have I got an appearance at Gulfstream racetrack.
Oh yeah.
I got appearance.
Love that place.
I love Gulfstream. I got appearance over there.
Yard house over there. I love that.
Yeah, the
spot.
yard house. Yeah, I'll probably be upstairs up over there, but I have a appearance over there, and I got another little deal. So yeah, I'll be going, hanging out a little bit and having some fun, but probably not going to the game, but just go there and hang out with the guys.
And are you on social media?
Yeah, you can follow me at Willie_Roaf on Twitter and Instagram. So whatever, everything I'll do be posting will be at Willie_Roaf, Twitter and Instagram. Yes.
Yeah. So hey guys, we're gonna wrap it up, man. Willie, thanks, man.
Thank you for having me.
So guys, be looking forward to Super Bowl weekend. Willie will be down there doing his thing, and make sure you go follow him. And you also can follow me, and make sure you hit the subscribe button down there. Click that bell for notifications, and we'll be seeing you again, guys. That's the last round, and we're out. See you.